Kano State Command of the Nigerian Correctional Service has confirmed that 58 inmates are currently participating in the 2025 National Examination Council NECO Senior School Certificate Examination. Spokesperson Masbahu Okofa Nasarawa, in a statement on Sunday, said the milestone was made possible through the intervention of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, who funded the inmates' registration. Describing the gesture as a strong commitment to inmate rehabilitation and reintegration, the command expressed gratitude to the state government for its sustained support. The move gives inmates a second chance at education and a brighter future. The statement read, adding that the initiative would greatly boost morale and support ongoing reformation efforts. The command reiterated its dedication to providing a conducive environment for inmates to rebuild their lives, with education as a key tool in their transformation. What are your thoughts on this report?
I think this is something cheering. Cheering in the sense that a societal conception of the prison life is that those are wasted years. You know, if you are given 2, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, those years are completely wasted.
Right.
They amount to nothing. But here, like the guy said, it's giving them, it shows that it is not completely wasted. It may even have been, as would be said, a silver lining in a dark cloud. Some of those guys, like he said, have a second chance at education. Probably if they were outside, still living their criminal life. I don't know, you know, we don't have the details of each of these 58 persons, what took them to prison. Excuse me, but we want to assume that it was one crime or the other. So I hope I do the right to say they are criminals, you know. So if they were outside, maybe living their criminal lifestyle, they probably wouldn't have had this chance of getting an education. But you see, with this now, for those of them who believe, if they do well in the exam, they would, that guy who had no qualification would be coming out of the prison with an ordinary level qualification. What does that mean to him? If it is somebody who was inclined to pursuing further education with an O level, he can dream dreams.
Okay.
He can, you know, I mean, even while still in prison with a successful O level, I know some inmates, I think in Lagos or somewhere, has been noted to have graduated from the National Open University. Yeah, so this is just...
How do they get to fund that? Is that still going to be funded by this government?
Yes, it's just because for now, they're in prison, they're property of government. And that's now you talked about funding, you took it before me. Now what I wanted to say, the guy in his report said it is made possible by a donation from the state government. I don't think it should be so. I don't think it should be so. I think going forward, since they know that they have some inmates who are educationally inclined, who would, you know, that's part of the information process. Their budgeting system should be such that provide funds for registration for exams. Because, you know, NECO, WAEC, or whichever body you want to, you know, is not part of your information system as it were, except you have some partnership with them that they give you free forms and all that. But even after the free form, those inmates need textbooks to read. Maybe, I don't know how the system works, maybe they probably need somebody to teach them, you know, depending on what subject. Maybe a guy who wants to write, say, chemistry, in WAEC may need somebody, even if it's like a refresher, you know. So I think I would like a system here, the correctional centers across the country, in their budgetary system, have a budget for reformation, not just feeding of the prisoners. And in that reformation should have subtitle for education. So that money, you know, can be used to fund exams, buy textbooks, maybe where there is need to pay for a tutor that would take them, that would help them. Because you can't overemphasize the place of education in reforming a person. The guy who gets an education already have his mind, if he can sit down while he's in prison to get an education, to read, to be tutored, you know, to write exam and pass, then he's a little bit reformed more than what he was. Then if, like we would hear most of them say, if they got into crime because of lack of economic alternative, you know. Now, having been in prison, you get an education, like I said, it opened a new vista for you. So with that education now, with SSCE, writing of WAEC and possibly passing it, you know, the guy can dream dreams.
Right.
Then if he goes further to get an education, maybe a university education, thank God there's an open university now that they don't even have to, you know, be in the physical class to get that education. So they can dream. So I would like a situation where, in spite of whatever donation anybody makes to them, be it a governor or even the president, but they should have their own budgetary system, so that at the beginning of each year they can say, oh, this year we have so amount for, you know, education. Maybe of that amount, maybe 10 million, 1 million, whatever, is for buying of NECO form, you know, the other one is for paying of school fees, and that way they would have their own plans without necessarily relying. Absolutely. So with this donation, as fantastic as it is, what if the governor didn't show up to make that donation? That means these people wouldn't have probably been able to enroll for this exam, even when they are mentally prepared for it. So if they have a budgetary system that would cater for this thing, it will make it easier for them to roll. Even if they don't carry everybody in the same academic period, they can say, okay, this year we budgeted for 20 people, we have 25 now. Maybe the 5, they use a criteria to choose, you know, and say, okay, the other 5 can wait. Then if donation comes like it came from the governor, they can add it up. But I think it's important they have their own budget on things like this.
I mean, you talked about budget, you talked about how good this is for the inmates, and we have always clamored for, you know, a correctional facility not to be a prison, rather a place of impact. At least when you come out, you'll be able to integrate yourself into society. But Nigeria is a place where many graduates haven't gone to the university, haven't been able to find jobs. We have a lot of unemployed, young, versatile youths, pretty talented in their own right. What exactly do you think this would eventually do for the inmates if they come out to meet the competitive job market out here with an SSE certificate?
Well, like you rightly said, you know, we are grappling with high level of unemployment already. And this guy who is coming from the prison, even if he has a first class or whatever he has read, you know, would be in a disadvantaged position, as it were, because there is a stigma to him. But if I were to run the system, maybe we can start off first, after reforming them. If they get the reformation and get education, we also look at their character. Has their character been reformed? Because one of the reasons you want to look at somebody like this one coming from prison is because you have a mindset that this guy is a system, so he's a criminal, so you don't want him to infest your system and all that, and rightly so. But if we can have a system where, you know, maybe the government stands as a surety to them, that okay,
for a person that has been vetted,
absolutely vetted, yes, you know, the system can be sure that, oh, this guy has been reformed, he's not going to go back to crime. If you employ him, you can be rest assured that nothing happens. And if anything happens, I am here to take how do I put it now, to take I'm sort of the fall guy. I'm here to take the blow. So whatever damage would have come from him working in your organization, I will reimburse you. That may also help. Then also, as many of them as possible can be encouraged to do such courses that they may not necessarily require to immediately. I mean, within the prison system also, they can organize system where their former inmates may sort of be employed. Like if the education is such that, you know, maybe those that can study computer science, you know, so that after studying a kind of entrepreneurial stuff here, so they can start off on their own without necessarily waiting to be employed, at least from the private sector. I think the best way to go about this is that, yes, the job market is crowded, but maybe the government can also, you know, have a plan to incorporate some of them that has been reformed. But then the government has, before the government can incorporate them, the government have to be sure how many they are and how many you're taking in per year. And also, most importantly, the government itself that is carrying out the reform have to be sure that they have been reformed. If they have not been, absolutely, if they have not been reformed, it will be a danger waiting to happen to recruit them. Even the government, already we have a system that is already corrupt. So if you bring in people whose character you are not too sure of, it's going to further compound the problem. So the government...
So you think this can only work on transparency?
The government should ensure that real transformation is taking place there, that even if anybody doubts the transformation, the government can boldly beat its chest and say, we have transformed these people, so we can take them in. If, you know, just the way the government have many of these amnesty program, and if you can take some of them, and this is not a whole something that maybe you're giving to some murderous bandits now. No, this is something you're even looking at the case file. Why did this person get into this place? Yes, some of them, you know, got into prison. Were they guilty of it? Yes, but the crime they got into actually necessitated by the falling standard in society. So some of those people, you can reform them. If those that are inclined to getting education, you get education, you know, instead. And then those that didn't go the education way, maybe learn one skill in prison, maybe like carpentry. Somebody who learned carpentry in a prison system, a reformation system, may not need to be employed by anybody. All he needs to do is start up his own shop. And if he's also good at what he does and has been reformed, is not criminally by anybody, I can approach a carpenter without even knowing his background. You do what you want to do for me, I pick it up and pay you and go. If the furniture is good, I probably may not care much if you are coming from the prison also, because after all, you're not even coming to my house to install it and all those. So I think the government needs to look at it holistically and see how, because the idea is to reform these persons, to make them better, to see how we can reintegrate them into society. If they are properly reintegrated, they do business, they will pay tax, they will help our GDP grow, you know, the many things like that.
Thank you so much.